Hello, my lovelies. I have woken up this morning to the most glorious video by Juli over at Peekaboo Rose. She shared decks that make her smile or laugh, her comic cards from those decks, in her own words, a frivolous and light-hearted video. So, in a world where things can get serious really quickly, I am joining in with a VR response to Juli. Here today I'm going to share my comic cards, and I'm going to start with one of Juli's favourite decks. Not really. So this is the Tarot of Curious Creatures, and the second that I watched the video, this was the first deck I thought of. There are no cards laid out on the top to share because there are no cards that make me laugh and giggle more than any others. They all do it. Oh my goodness me. I love animal heads on human bodies. I know it divides people, but it just makes me smile. I absolutely love it. Look at these cards, they are so fantastic. So every time I pull this deck, I giggle like a hyena. Look, you've got hyenas there. A cat with a cat, it's just wonderful. And the devil as the goat. It's just fantastic. I love the way this deck has been done. It's got my all-time favourite Three of Cups card, which really does make me giggle. So that's the Tarot of Curious Creatures. It's just a winner all the way through, and it's got these beautiful coloured backs as well. The next deck I'm sharing is one that's out on my tarot table at the moment. This is the Hanson Roberts Tarot, or as Manuela has now made me rename it, the Handsome Robert Tarot. Who Robert is, I do not know, but that made me giggle, so let's mention that. It's this just glorious sort of kids illustration storybook vibe to it. It's wonderful, and you do readings and it's all lovely, and it's all this coloured pencil, and you think of nostalgic childhood and lovely times reading fairy tales and storybooks and fantasy times. Oh, and all this beautiful, sweet, gorgeous childhood nostalgic ride until bam, you get to this devil card. I mean, what the hell? How scary is that? So you go from this to this, and I can remember talking to Rennie about it, and she said, find the devil card, find it. And I found it. We both cracked up over FaceTime laughing because it's the shock. And now whenever I see this card, which was actually the first ever card I pulled when I did a reading with this deck, of course it was, I think about me and Renee laughing about it, and it's so scary for such a sweet sort of childlike deck. Yeah, it's just bam, there it is. So that's another one that really makes me laugh and giggle. Another one that I thought of when I saw like comic cards, the Many Queens Tarot. And again, this is just generally the whole deck really. I mean, the characters are just fantastic. You've got like big squishy butts and squishy tummies and stubbly legs. And the characters are just fantastic. Look at that, the way it's drawn. And it just makes me giggle. I love it. I mean, a Two of Wands with a stubbly butt. You can't not giggle, really, can you? And the King of Swords with this amazing beard and hairstyle. And look at the legs and the toes. And again, look, hairy feet. There's something so funny about hairy feet. I mean, have you ever seen a Queen of Cups like it? I love this deck so much. I mean, even the Ten of Swords, you've got the hairy butt on the show. So it just makes me laugh. I mean, the dog in the fall, look at that. It's just brilliant. So yeah, this is one that I just love for the characters, and it does make me giggle. Okay, another deck which I haven't used yet. It was a find in a charity shop. I haven't even shared it yet. It's this one, the Hip Witch Tarot. It's a low Scarabeo deck, and who is it by? It is by Barbara somebody. Hang on, it is by Barbara Moore. It's a Barbara Moore deck. I went into a local charity shop up by my daughter's school, and they had a load of decks in there. I've never found tarot decks in a charity shop before, and I was just really excited. They were all £4 each. I've flicked through this deck, and so I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. Some of the cards are a bit iffy, but things like this made me laugh out loud. Like the Fool, she's holding onto the tail of a mountain goat. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but it did make me laugh out loud. And this wheel, I mean, she's just like leaped on top of this other person. It's just like, what's going on? The look on that person's face. And then this strength card, I mean, she's attacking these animals with, it looks like a giant piece of ginger root. Because I haven't read the guidebook yet, I am literally just looking at the image, and this is another one that I laughed out loud with. And, you know, the devil, they're having a lovely old time. It's a right little party. That could be the Three of Cups. So that made me laugh. And, yeah, the Ace of Cups, kissing a frog. Haven't we all done a bit of that in our lifetime? So that made me laugh as well. I thought, yeah, I can relate. But look, she's got a second option. She's got some spaghetti cooking, kissing frogs, and then ending up turning to carbs. This is my life story in one card. I love it. So yeah, that made me laugh too. So that is the Hip Witch Tarot, which I've yet to explore, but it looks fun. How could I do this tag without sharing the Kawaii Tarot? Oh my goddess, this is a giggle in a deck. Every card, I think it's the pudginess, it's the rainbowness, it's the just sheer delight of these cards. Look, I mean, a hedgehog riding a unicorn. Is it even it's a podgy unicorn? And look at the tower with all the seals. Oh my gosh, I just love it. And a butterfly chariot being ridden by frogs. I mean, you've just got to giggle. You've got to giggle at these. They are just wonderful. I mean, look at the devil. Look at those two characters underneath the devil. It is just an absolute delight. Look at the Empress. This reminds me of a card from another deck, which I'll grab next, which also makes me giggle. Oh, it's just so lovely, this deck. You know, you've got the Nine of Wands is the panda on the lollipop, and look, strength with the mouse playing the violin on the cat's head. And look at the cat's expression. And death riding a mammoth. Oh, I just could keep going. Every card in this deck is just, it's just sheer delight. Look at it. What's not to love? Literally every card, every single card is a delight. Oh, I love it. So that is the Kawaii Tarot, built to make you giggle. Okay, I said that poodle in the Kawaii Tarot reminded me of another card in another deck. It's another anthropomorphic animal deck. It's the Bohemian Animal Tarot. I do have a third one like this to share in a minute as well. Perhaps this has clarified for me why I like this. It's clarified for me just what my thing is with these type of decks. Oh look, can you see this box is just, oh, I'm gonna have to get a bag. This box is just falling apart. Yeah, it's clarified why I like these decks so much and why I keep buying them. It's because I find them so funny and just so, they're so delightful, which does sometimes come with a chuckle. But this is the card that the poodle reminded me of. Look, it's the Temperance card. How fantastic is that? Is it a ferret? It's a ferret doing the can in suspenders. If you don't immediately go out and buy this deck when you see this card, then I'm sorry, I can't help you. I don't understand what's going on. I mean, look at that. Oh, is it a wasp? It's in a big French wig. It's just wonderful. Give me animals dressed in human clothes, preferably on human bodies, and I'm literally all there for it. I mean, look at that. How can you not smile at that? It's just wonderful. So yeah, that is another deck full of cards that I just think are fantastic, and they make me smile and giggle. Okay, let's get that third deck out of the way for all of you who are cringing about these animal heads. This is one of my newest decks in my collection. When I saw the artwork, I did laugh out loud on a lot of cards, but it was one of those, I think I was about 6 cards in and I ordered it because I loved it. I saw it on Martin's channel and I just loved it, and I flicked through it. I'm yet to work with it. I mean, though that's got to make you giggle, hasn't it, those backs? But I flicked through it and I'm so glad I bought it. It's just wonderful. Right, let's find some cards. I mean, look at the Hermit. It's a kingfisher dressed up going into a playhouse. It's just so lovely. I need to find the tarot card to show you. The tarot card is epic. The tarot card has laundry falling off a washing machine and jobs to do, just jobs to do, piled up on top of the washing machine. I feel so seen. And then the 7 of Pentacles. Oh, how seen do I feel in that? That is literally me in my greenhouse, but with a tomato head, because why not? And the 10 of Wands. Look at the trousers. Look at the trousers on the 10 of Wands. And what is that thing they're making? What actually is it? It's like some statue covered in toilet paper. Oh, I love it. The Page of Wands, that feeling in a bookshop where your head has just exploded and become cotton candy. Again, I feel seen. Look at the 5 of Cups. This one, the 9 of Swords in a dressing gown hanging up laundry. Oh my God, I love this deck. I love this deck so much. So that is the Rebel Heart Tarot. It's just fantastic. We're going to go from animal heads on human bodies to a bit of toilet humour now. I can't help it, guys, and I'm going to get really irreverent because we're going to the Barbara Walker Tarot. I know, forgive me, and forgive my toilet humour too. I can't help it. First of all, what the hell is that? What? Cruelty and this really scary circle. But the tree? Whenever I pull this card, I just hear the tree going dong 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 dong, and it just makes me laugh, literally laugh out loud every time. And a little bit with this one as well. It's just the way. What are they doing? Are they doing a bit of yarn bombing in the tree while this guy just hangs at the top? I think it's just the way he's hanging. It just cracks me up. But the toilet humour, oh, you're going to have to forgive me for this, guys. Look away if you don't like toilet humour. But can we just discuss this card? Can we just ask ourselves, what's the King of Wands doing? What's that in his hand? Could we not have positioned that wand somewhere else? Could we not have just positioned that somewhere else, perhaps? Is it a wand? Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Okay. This deck makes me laugh with validation because I use this deck to spy on people. I am not proud of it, but I will admit it. I do. Sometimes when I want to know what's going on with people or who they're becoming, I'll pull a card from this. Now, one of my exes, he was... let's just say he photographed my calendar on a regular basis to make sure that if I was free, he was standing at the door immediately, and he would constantly be on my Pinterest trying to find new pins I was pinning so that he could pretend to have the same interests, to the point that I started making up ridiculous new boards on Pinterest just to test it out, because I wasn't sure whether I was imagining it. But every time I put like some sort of ridiculous new board up, within the next conversation of seeing him, he would suddenly have this new interest. You know, like how frogs' feet grow, you know, from sort of made up Pinterest boards. And I began to realise with how drained I was that I might be with some sort of energy vampire. So I ended it. And then to check that I wasn't just seeing red flags where there wasn't red flags, I came to this deck and I asked who was he, and this flew out of this many cards, guys, this many cards, and I had to laugh. Now, I did go back to this deck a few other times with questions about this guy, and every single time this card would literally fly across the room. Every time I pulled a card from this many cards, this came out, even to the point that the last time I went to this deck, I picked the deck up, opened the box, and sort of semi-dropped to the deck, and out of the middle of the deck this flew across the floor again. And I just thought, well, this is so obvious now. Look, there's 74 cards in this deck, it's insane. So I just thought to myself, well, you need to stop asking, because the deck is going, you know, will you please get it? You were right. Energy vampire. I also got it with the priest, and he was an energy vampire based in a church as well. So we'll leave it at that. But the insistence on this card flying out across the floor so many times, just, it cracked me up in the end. It got actually hysterically funny. So the validation and the fierceness of the validation literally has made that a funny card. Now I only have to look at this box on the shelf now and I giggle to myself. Another deck from that charity shop haul, look, you can see £4 per deck, is this one, Delve into the World of Tarot Reading, which I got because I found it a little bit amusing. It is a pit deck, and I was beginning to get my interest peaked in pit decks. But as I flicked through this deck in the charity shop just to check that all the cards were there, and you can see it's like a big deck like this, it was just some of the dimensions on these figures did make me giggle. And although I could see, like, it's a really sort of basic pit deck, if I move that across there you can see that's what the miners are like. But like on this Wheel of Fortune, that figure underneath, just the way it's spinning round, I can almost hear it going whee. And then this Knight of Wands, which is supposed to be the brave go-getter, he literally looks like somebody who's never ridden a horse before being shoved on. You can literally hear him bouncing because he doesn't know how to ride the horse, and he looks terrified. And then that card really did make me laugh. And the star, the healing card of the star, she looks just so absent-minded and just so over-busy and overwhelmed, and that cracked me up. The Lovers, I just thought, what? Hello? What is that? So I loved it for that. Strength as well. Look how absent-minded they look. So anyway, this reminds me of an actor, and I couldn't think which one because I'm terrible with names, but that made me laugh as well. Yeah, just like the nonchalant hanging of the Hanged Man. There were a lot of cards in this set that just made me giggle because of the art style. So I'm including that one as well. Oh my gosh, I've got so many decks everywhere. It's madness. Another one that was in the charity shop, the Grunge Tarot. I just had to do it, guys. I had to get it. And again, similar reason. I just found some of these cards just so amusing. I mean, look at those packs. Isn't that in your face? I love it. So look at the Fool card. Look at the dog. He's just like, thumbs up. Yeah, go on then, mate. Jump. Get it. hysterical. And the Queen of Cups, look at the mess and the cigarettes and the pouring the drink, and she's just like, yeah, and love that for the Queen of Cups. His shorts and the ones. Oh, yeah. The Queen of Wands. What's going on with that cat? I thought at first she was like sort of patting out a fur ball. And look at its face is red. And what does it say? Does it say, Nene lost you? I think she is patting out a fur ball. I can't even. And the Seven of Swords, he's just like stood in front of the dartboard going, yeah. And the King of Wands just absent-mindedly flying on an armchair. Or the Nine of Wands playing to an audience of melting candles. Why do I find that so funny? That is just hysterical. So yeah, this is the Grunge Tarot. There are many moments in this that just crack me up, and I love it. Like the Chariot, look, he's driven his bus, is that into a river? And it's all cool, man, it's all cool. So, the Grunge Tarot, had to bring that in. Please don't come for me, because you know I love this creator so much. I'm a super fan. I have all the decks, bought with my own money, most of them. I am a super fan, honestly. I love Cheryl Yambrat Rose. But some of the artwork, I think I love it because some of the artwork is so out there. And I get why it's out there. Now I can't find one that's out there. Look at this. I get why it's out there because it's channeled art, and I get that. Here we go. But there's suddenly elephants in there with like flying saucers behind them. And sometimes when I'm doing a reading and I get one of those cards, it does make me giggle. Go to the guidebook and work with all the writing in the guidebook, and it all becomes completely obvious. But there is a moment, just a moment, where you see a beehive and the tour and a portal with a spaceship coming through and a dinosaur that you think, hang on, what? Oh, and I love these decks for that. Honestly, I love them, and I'm not making fun of this artwork because Cheryl is such a fantastic part of this community. But there are moments where you think there's such a lot going on, and it's so unexpected. But I have to say, the unexpectedness of some of these cards and some of the imagery, I've never walked away from a tarot reading with this deck and still been giggling and thinking, well, that was a bit weird. It's always come together, and it's just, it's been magical. And I have to also add, then later on in the day, I've always had something happen in the real world time, that has come into play with the tarot reading, whether it be songs coming on the radio with similar lyrics to a message that I got given, always something like that. So I do think these decks are deeply magical, which is why I am genuinely a super fan of Cheryl Yambrat Rose and all of her decks. But there are moments where you first pull a card where you do giggle, and that's okay, that's fine. Okay, also don't come for me. This is the entire deck. Guys, it's just a relationship I have with the Thoth. I don't know whether it's because it's got the spirit of Aleister Crowley in there and it makes me a bit defiant, or what it is, but I love to pair this deck with decks that I know it is going to kick up a stink about, and it's got an incredibly strong voice. I've called it in the past a recalcitrant teenager, and that is exactly the voice of this deck, which I have to stifle giggles with as I'm working with it. It's not the cards, it's not the imagery, it's the voice of the deck, and I have to give it a little bit of space to calm down. and then insist that we're doing it my way. And then we normally end up having a laugh together. It's a deck, actually. It's probably made me laugh more than any other deck I've ever used. And it's just what it is. And I'm the most surprised of anybody. Another one. Oh my gosh, I love this deck. I love Samantha West's decks, and this I used all through December for my advent calendar opening. I mean, the colours are enough to make anybody smile, and the gilding. But look at these characters. Oh, you gotta love it. Look, Judgment. I don't mind being called out of the grave by somebody with a beard like that. Come and get me. And look, this one with the two dogs, that's like me walking the beach. That is literally what I look like on the beach. And that's how well my dogs behave. That's me collecting pebbles, look, on the Welsh beach. Toilet humour again. I'm sorry, guys, I just can't help it. But can we be careful where we hold the crystals? And this one, the green figure, this one here down the front, she's just like, you can literally hear her. And that one in the back, she's having a dance. She's not even trying. Oh, love it. I just love this deck. Look at the magician. She's like, I will wear my magic on my dress. And the chariot. The chariot, look at that. We're not delusional. We are literally riding a pink unicorn up in space. So, gotta love it. The Rainbow Moon Tarot. Many cards in there to make you giggle. I've got to do it. I've got to put the Shadowland in there. Worst gilding in the world. I'm still only halfway through scraping and filing off all the gilding. And you know that I'm a magpie and I love anything shiny and glittery. And yet the gilding literally makes me want to cry on this deck. I can't bear it touching me. But having said that, the cards are fantastic, and they do make me giggle. Look at the Eight of Cups walking away, the skeleton. Oh, I love it. And look, the King of Pentacles with his crystal head. It's just awesome. I absolutely love all the figures and the characters in this deck. Oh my gosh, look at this Four of Pentacles. How cool is that? And the King of Cups with his shopping bag. And the High Priestess, look at the hair and the get up and the clothes is just wonderful. Oh my gosh, and the octopus friends and fish friends. Oh, I love it. I really love this deck. It just is an absolute classic for giggles, I think. I love this figure with the long hair and the fringe that won't stay out of her eyes. I can so relate to it. It's just wonderful, isn't it? Look at that. And the Two of Cups, look. You can have a kiss, but do not get too close. And the Six of Swords, onward. Oh, are you sure this is the right way? Onward. Yeah. So this is just wonderful. The Shadowland, it's just made for giggles as well. And last, but definitely not least, for giggles, may I present you the Wisdom Oracle book and card pack. This is a Jungian tarot card pack, and its cards are superb. Literally bought for the giggles, such as this card. What on earth is that about? It looks like Amateur Dramatics meets the local dog's home. I love this deck so much. Then we have things like this. It's just so bizarre and so wonderful. And I think every card in this deck just makes me laugh. Look, the dimensions and the proportions of that figure, just bizarre. What is that? I literally bought this because I laughed at the cards and I just really wanted it because it was so good. And yeah, it might be really irreverent, and I'm sure the deck works brilliantly. In fact, the deck does actually have some quite good messages in the guidebook. Not that I've used it much because I do giggle too much really to take it seriously. But there you go. So this is the one I'm going to end on. What is he going to chop off with that chisel? Where's he going with that chisel, guys? Right, on that note, thank you, Juli, over at Peekaboo Rose, for this lovely idea for a video. I've had so much fun this morning doing this. I am going to be giggling till lunchtime, I'm absolutely sure of it. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.